Hi, my name's Crystal and I'm a new mom. I really want to share the story of how my son was born in as much detail as I can possibly remember. Our son was born on the full moon lunar eclipse in Ubud, Bali, when the borders started to shut down around the world and everyone was really heading back to their home countries. We decided to give birth to our baby here, and it was the most magical, wonderful decision we could have made for the little guy and for us. Leading up to the birth, we really felt like he was coming soon, and we knew the full moon was coming, and that really felt like the day he might join us. My husband had so much energy that night, he actually wasn't able to sleep, and he was up all night. And I randomly woke up around 4 a.m. and realized that Edward was still up. So I went and checked up on him, and we just had like such good heart-to-hearts and talked for like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Then around 5 a.m. we're like, okay, we better go to bed, like baby's coming soon, we need to make sure we get our sleep, let's like cuddle and get some rest. And we went to go to bed and my water started to break. The moon was going to be fullest at 9 a.m. so we were just so close to that full moon energy right in the midst of it. We called my doula and told her that I was going into labor. First time moms usually have a really long labor and there can be a lot of waiting time, so she told us to just really rest and relax and prepare and just to take it easy and not get too excited and even try to sleep if we could. Immediately after calling her, my contractions started. They were really gentle at first. And I immediately felt like I had to use the bathroom. So I used the bathroom and like definitely let go of virtually everything inside my body. The plan was always to do a water birth. So we ran the tub and I got into the tub and started enjoying some nice warm water. And Edward started to get a little labor potion together for me. Within about 10 minutes, my contractions were less than 2 minutes apart and they started to get pretty intense. I had to get out of the bath. Edward wondered if we should call our doula again. She was waiting to come to us because she wanted to make sure she didn't come too early and that we had some time just as a couple before we got into the really intense parts of labor where we would want her help. So now we're an hour and 20 minutes into my labor and my contractions are 60 seconds apart and they're really intense and I'm just like riding these crazy waves. I tried to go back into the bath, I'd be in there for a minute and then the contraction would come and it would just be so crazy and I'd be like just arching my body so intensely and feeling like I needed to move more. So I got out of the bath and I came here to this, I'm in a bunk bed right now. Came to this bunk bed and I was just like holding on to the bunk bed and just really arching my back and moving around on the ground. I felt like baby was just like pushing through my hips and I felt my back moving and my hips moving and just this child coming through me really fast and really intense. So at this point I'm like, please call Alex, I think she needs to come, and Edward already wanted to call Alex. And I'm in crazy pain at this point and Edward is like massaging my neck and helping me through this journey, and he called Alex and he's like, I think you need to get here now. She again was like, oh, like usually it takes a while for first labor, take your time. And he's like, I think she's gonna have the baby soon. So he's like, oh really? And rushed out the door. Edward ordered some juice for me from our favorite raw vegan restaurant here in Bali, Alchemy, to make sure that I'd be able to make it through this intense journey and stay hydrated and get a little pick-me-up if I needed some calories or some nutrients. So he orders juice and yeah, I'm like trying to go back in the tub and it's just so intense. and I go into the bathroom, and we have this tiny little bathroom here, and I was just like putting my arms on the walls and like just like squatting up and down while like holding the walls and like, moaning out in like this crazy pain. And I could not keep the sounds in. I went into labor so lightheartedly. I really didn't think that it would like hurt that bad, and so I had still a super positive mindset at this point, but just like this intense wildness is coming out of me, just pouring out, and you just have to move and make the sounds and moan and scream and like let that baby and that energy out however it needs to come. So I'm like holding onto the walls, and then I come back to the floor over here, and I'm like rolling my body around, and then Alex arrives, our doula, and I'm like, oh, thank the Lord. So she comes in, and her energy is so grounded and so soft but so strong, like exactly the person I need, and she's just so ready to guide me and be there to hold my energy in any way I need. So instantly she's at my back, and she just like puts her hand on my back, and she knew exactly where to touch, because at this point Zen was literally like pushing through my lower back, and everything was expanding so much. I'm a tiny person, so having this baby coming through was, yeah, it was a lot. And she's like massaging my lower back, and Edward's massaging my neck, just guiding me through. She's like, yeah, you're doing really good, and your labor is going like very, very quickly. So I just continuously moved from this space right here with them guiding me back to the bathroom, holding onto those walls, just like squatting and up and down, and then I'm trying to get into the tub, but I just couldn't. For some reason, like I just was not able to do the water. I really wanted that water birth, but my body just, no water for me. I guess like a couple people mentioned it, but I didn't really know that like labor would also feel like you really had to poop, like really intensely. And I was so worried about like not being able to have the baby, because like maybe there was like poop in the way inside my body, which is such a crazy thing. But it's like you feel like you have to poop, but you're actually giving birth to a baby, so you can't, because it's not actually poop, it's like you're having a baby. So it's just this crazy thing where I was like, I feel like I have to use the bathroom, so I like go into the bathroom and thinking like maybe like I have to get some things out before the baby comes, but like my body was empty. And yeah, it was just the feeling of birthing my baby. But don't get me wrong, birthing your child is so much more intense than using the bathroom. It just felt like you're doing a mixture of both, where really you're just birthing that baby. In my case anyway, some people might have to use the bathroom still, but my body was empty. So yeah, just such a crazy thing, having to keep like running back, feeling like I'm using the bathroom, but I'm actually about to birth my baby. So I'm in the bathroom, and I'm like holding the walls again, and like I'm just like squatting and standing, and I feel him crown. And like we're 2 hours into labor now, literally 2 hours into labor, and I feel him, and I know I'm like, he's like right here. And so I kind of look down, you can't really see so much, but I'm like certain that his head is like literally crowning out of me. So I kind of feel, and I feel his head. I can sense someone on the other side of the door, and I'm like, I need you, like come. And so the door opens, and it's Alex, and I'm like, baby is coming now, can you check? And so she checks me, and she says, Crystal, like you're going to have your baby very quickly, like this is incredible, your baby is coming now. And she says, just hold on, try to be slow, don't push, your baby's coming very soon. At this point, we really wanted to try to slow down labor, because my midwife wasn't actually here yet. It was Edward and my doula and I, but we actually had a midwife too, and she hadn't even been called yet. I can't really move my body anymore. Like my legs are numb. It's so hard to move because this baby is coming out of me and I'm standing in the squat position, and it's just like my body won't really move anymore. So Edward and Alex came over to help me. I didn't think I could get into the tub at this moment, and I'm so close to giving birth to our baby. They start to guide me over to the bed. They're like, okay, let's get her to the bed. And our bed is right beside our glass doors that go out to our patio. We're just about in front of the doors, and then we hear, hello, hello, like delivery, like it's alchemy with your juice. And I'm like completely naked, like about to give birth to our baby. I can't move, I'm being like carried by my doula and my partner, and I'm like, no, bring me back, don't, I can't go to the bed right now, like bring me back. So quickly, like Edward runs out to take care of the juice, and Alex like brings me over, and I suddenly have this energy and I can move again. Alex brings me over here, and I kind of hide beside this bunk, and I put myself down on the ground right here. I'm about to birth our baby. Meanwhile, Edward is paying for the juice and like really trying to speed things along, and the sweet alchemy delivery guy is like, oh, like you're having your baby today, because Edward had told them that I was in labor, and the guy's like chatting him up all excited, and Edward's like, yeah, like having a baby, like now, like I kind of need to get back to it. So anyway, so he pays for the juice and wishes the guy well, and closes the drapes. At this point, I'm actually like sitting right here, not really sitting, like crawling and like feeling my baby like about to come out, and I'm like on all fours about to birth him. And Alex is like, okay, slow down, like the laundry's on her way, she'll be here soon, and we just want to take it really slow now, like just take your time, and let's try to get you into the bath, she says. So she helps me up, and Edward comes back over and he helps me up, because at this point our baby is already starting to come out of me, and my body's just like in this crazy pain, but like this really numb pain. At this point it didn't hurt as much anymore. The contractions were so much more painful. Like when he was moving through the hips, that was the really painful part. Once he crowned, I just felt so much release. I was ready to birth him at that point, like very ready for him to be delivered into this world. We really wanted to have the water birth. So Edward came over, and he and Alex started to pick me up, and they were guiding me over to the bath. I know baby's coming so soon, and we're about to get into the bath. And Alex checked the temperature, and the bath water was too hot, and it wouldn't have been safe for baby, and maybe not even for me. It was just too hot, not ready. So she's trying to adjust the temperature. Edward at this point is holding me up, holding all my weight, because I can't move anymore. And I tell her, I'm like, Alex, like he's coming, like he's coming now. And she's like, don't push. And I'm like, I have to, like my body is pushing, I'm not pushing, he's coming. And I just felt my body pushing him like with full force. And Alex is like, okay. So she jumps down on the ground below me, and Edward's holding me up, and I'm standing. My body's shaking uncontrollably, and then I just feel him come out, and Alex actually catches our baby with her hands and grabs him and pulls him up through my legs into my arms, and he just cries out for a moment, and next thing you know, I'm holding our baby. And he was just so sweet and so small and very quiet. Like he just gave a little cry that he was here and that he was all right, and he's in my arms. I'm just like totally stunned and just holding him. The floor is like just full of blood, and right away Edward and Alex, they they take me and they bring me to the bed. They basically have to pull me to the bed because at this point I really can't move. I can just barely hold on to our baby, and I'm so weak and amazed and proud, and I have him in my arms and I'm just like blown away and completely exhausted and so happy. And they guide me to the bed, and now I'm laying on the bed. I'm holding him, holding Zen, our baby. And at this point, we were just over 3 hours into labor from when my water originally broke. I'm holding him, and Zen's making sweet little sounds. He's trying to figure out what's going on, but he came into this world very gently. I didn't really know what to do at this point. I could barely move, I could barely hold him, but I just, hey baby, and just gazing at him. And Alex helped guide him to my breast, and he is ready to drink already. Like, he's already looking for the nipple right away. Like, he's finding his way to my breast. And Alex guided him, and we started breastfeeding, and he latched to me right away and drank, and I just laid there and held him and was just absolutely amazed. And then our midwife arrived pretty much right away and came to help and came to check on me. Within less than half an hour probably from having him, maybe 20 minutes, it was time to deliver my placenta, and my placenta came really naturally, really easily too. I don't even have a memory of that because I was just so focused on Zen in my arms, just holding our little boy and feeding him, and I'm just totally numb and at total peace, and I have no pain anymore. I'm just completely Zen. We chose not to cut the cord for 24 hours. There's a lot of nutrition in the placenta for the baby, and we thought it would be really good to allow him to get as much nutrition in from that vital source. So we did a bit of a lotus birth, not a true lotus birth because that would involve leaving the placenta until it naturally detached. But for 24 hours, Zen stayed attached to the placenta. My wonderful doula and midwife examined me and checked me out and made sure I was okay. I actually had a really deep rip deep inside me. It was very intense, and once I started to kind of come to and be a little more present, I realized that was hurting a lot. And I definitely was in a lot of pain. They gave me the option that they could leave me to heal naturally instead of stitching me, and I could choose between either being stitched or healing naturally. And they used some ancient herbs on me to help me heal naturally too, and to help stop the bleeding, which made a huge difference. So I really didn't want to get stitched. Like, the thought of getting stitched just sounded so painful, and at that point, like, my body had gone through so much already, and I just thought healing naturally felt like definitely what I wanted to do. I laid there with baby and just fed him more and held him more, and Edward came in and held me, and we just all snuggled up. We just snuggled as a family for hours and hours and hours. And Zen didn't cry at all during the first 12 hours of his life, besides when he first said hello to the world. He did cry later, but those first 12 hours he was so zen and so peaceful and just entered the world so beautifully. And I just can't say enough of what a beautiful birth this was, how powerful it was, how empowering it was. At the end, like, I got into labor at 5, had him at 8 something, and the moon was fullest around 9 in the morning. So he was like full moon baby, came with that energy, which was so special. It was just such a magical, powerful moment. And I 100% for me, it was the right decision to birth him at home, to birth him with no medical assistance, to have no painkillers, to be just completely natural and in this home environment. I've had a lot of women tell me that I'm really brave to birth at home. I honestly think that women that go and birth at a hospital are brave, because that scares me. Being in a space with bright lights, with less control of how your baby comes into the world, to potentially be numbed with medications and epidurals and all these things, that frightens me. This felt like my safe space. This felt like where I was meant to bring my baby into the world. We had a very healthy, very natural, very wild, very fast birth, and it was absolutely perfect. Yeah. If any moms are considering birthing at home or looking into alternative birthing practices, I really do recommend following your intuition. And if you feel called to birth at home, know that you can, and you are powerful, and like whatever makes you feel safe and feels right to you and your baby is the way you should birth your baby. Home birth isn't for everyone. If there's any complications in your pregnancy, some people would be a lot safer to give birth in a hospital. But for me, I had such a healthy pregnancy, and I'm a very healthy person, and I had a very healthy baby growing inside me, so there were no complications to worry about, and I just really had such a positive mindset about it. Mindset is very important. There were some really intense moments during the birth where I really had to hone in my energy and just tell myself, like, you're going to meet your baby soon. You're strong, you're powerful, your baby is coming, you're about to bring your baby into this world. And I had to repeat this to myself to keep the fear out. And it got me through those intense contractions. I should mention too, my doula guided me not to push. She told me ahead of time that the body would naturally guide him through, and that if there was a moment where you felt the urge to push, you can, but that it's not necessary, and it's better to just naturally let the baby come. And he came fast. I felt pushing, but I wasn't consciously pushing him, and he chose his time and he was very ready. I can't believe we're moving tomorrow out of this room that Zen was born in. This is such a beautiful home, and I'm so grateful for it. We live here in Bali at Taman Sakti Resort in Ubud. We've been living in the Sakti room, which actually means magic room or spirit room. We're right beside the temple and right beside the jungle in this like garden of magic. Thank you so much for joining me while I take this little trip down memory lane and share how Zen Karami was born in this beautiful, beautiful home in Bali. Yeah, I really, really love it here. I haven't felt this at home in a long time, maybe ever.